Hello, and welcome to the NAMB webinar on mentoring and supporting learners. Supporting colleagues and students by acting as a mentor, role model, and teacher are embedded expectations within NAMB's standards of practice and the Code of Ethics. For this reason, this year's CCP Mandatory Learning Module will focus on the roles and responsibilities of mentors and mentees, as well as how to support learners not regulated by NAMB. This webinar will be approximately 15 minutes in length. This webinar will review the definitions of mentoring and preceptoring, the benefits of mentoring, the roles and responsibilities of mentors and mentees, supporting learners not regulated by NAMB, and the role of employers and organizations in mentoring. Mentoring is a supportive and collaborative relationship in which a more experienced nurse provides guidance, counseling, and teaching to a less experienced nurse, nursing student, or other healthcare professional to facilitate professional growth and development. Mentoring relationships can be formal or informal, depending on the circumstances. Mentoring can include supporting transition to practice, supporting learners adapt to a new practice environment, supporting nurses pursuing specialization, leadership or education roles, or advanced clinical practice. Preceptoring, on the other hand, is a specific and time-limited type of mentoring. This type of mentoring involves a formal relationship and a structured program where a preceptor guides a new graduate nurse or a nursing student through predetermined competencies and helps them socialize into a specific clinical setting. Mentoring offers numerous benefits, not just for the mentees, but also for mentors and the broader healthcare system. Let's dive into how mentors contribute to safe, competent, and ethical nursing care. Firstly, mentors play a pivotal role in bridging the gap between theoretical knowledge and practical application, which is vital for developing a well-rounded and effective nursing practice. Mentoring goes beyond technical skills. It encompasses supporting learners in adopting professional values and behaviors. These foundational elements shape nurses into compassionate and ethical professionals. In addition, mentoring fosters a collaborative and supportive work environment, creating a safe space for learners to ask questions, seek clarification, and build their confidence. This dynamic is critical for both personal and professional growth. Finally, mentorship also encourages mentors to reflect on their own practices. By doing so, they can identify areas for personal and professional growth and refine their own approaches. One of the primary responsibilities of a mentor is guiding and supporting learning. This involves assessing a mentee's learning needs, offering opportunities for growth, and helping them connect theoretical knowledge to real-world settings. By doing this, mentors equip mentees with the critical skills and judgment needed to deliver safe, competent, and ethical care. Another essential role is providing feedback and evaluation. Constructive feedback allows mentees to recognize their strengths and identify areas for improvement. A mentor's responsibility is to assess progress and ensure mentees are meeting their learning objectives. This includes addressing conflicts professionally and maintaining a respectful tone to build a trusting, positive relationship. Mentors also play a key role in supporting growth and development. By fostering autonomy, building confidence, and nurturing professional judgment, mentors create an environment where mentees can thrive. Encouragement and emotional support are vital for empowering mentees to reach their full potential. Equally important is the mentor's role in respecting diversity and creating inclusive learning environments. Mentors must embrace learners from all backgrounds and ensure they feel safe, valued, and respected. Addressing power imbalances by accepting reciprocal feedback can further promote a collaborative and inclusive atmosphere, enhancing the learning experience for both parties. Lastly, mentors are expected to role model professional behavior. This includes demonstrating compassion, ethical decision-making, client-centered care, and a commitment to lifelong learning. By practicing in alignment with professional standards, legislation, and organizational policies, mentors set a strong example for mentees to follow. The following may be some questions you have been considering while listening to this webinar. If you are wondering if the responsibility of mentoring applies to you as a novice nurse or in a new practice environment, it's important to understand that all nurses in Canada are prepared to practice safely, competently, and ethically. You can support a new learner at any stage as a nurse if you practice within your scope and seek guidance as needed. Another common question is what to do if you feel you cannot support a learner. In this circumstance, it is important to discuss your concerns with your employer or healthcare team to plan other ways to support the learner. When considering what questions to ask when supporting learners, it's important to assess how you are available to the learner, how to ensure there is appropriate supervision when necessary, what the goals are, and whether they are clear and aligned with the learner's learning plan. How you are providing feedback and adapting approaches to teach and meet the learner's needs, and what resources and opportunities can be provided so the learner can acquire new knowledge and skills. Finally, if you're wondering how to assess learners, it's important to understand the learner's knowledge, skill, and judgment in the practice setting. It is similarly important to know what the scope of responsibilities, practice limitations, and legislative authority of the provider or learner is. It's important to understand and discuss the learning plan or goals of the learner and identify any barriers that may prevent the learner from practicing and learning safely and competently. Mentees who are registered with NAMB also have roles and responsibilities. First, mentees are expected to actively engage in the learning process. This means being aware of their learning needs, seeking out opportunities to develop new skills, and applying knowledge in practice. It's important to remember that growth is a direct result of how much effort and curiosity is brought to the process. Another key responsibility is open communication and feedback. Mentees should communicate their learning needs and experiences with their mentor while being open to positive and constructive feedback. Using feedback is an opportunity for growth. It is a valuable tool to help refine skills and advance practice. Self-awareness and reflection are equally important. Mentees should regularly reflect on their practice to identify strengths, weaknesses, and areas for improvement. This self-reflection will help the mentee set realistic learning goals and articulate them to their mentor. Striving for continuous improvement is a hallmark of professional development. Mentees must also demonstrate openness to diverse perspectives and experiences. Mentees should be willing to learn from mentors and peers from different backgrounds. This includes active listening, respecting cultural differences, and remaining receptive to feedback that may challenge existing beliefs or practices. This openness enriches the learning experience and fosters professional growth. Finally, mentees are expected to uphold professionalism and accountability. Mentees should demonstrate a commitment to practicing in accordance with the standards of practice for registered nurses, the Code of Ethics, and all relevant legislation, policies, and regulatory requirements. Professionalism and accountability not only builds trust, but also ensures that care is safe, competent, and ethical. Learners may not just be regulated by NAMB. A learner may also be a nursing student, a student from another healthcare profession, an unregulated care provider, or another regulated healthcare professional. In any practice setting, the primary responsibility of the nurse is to the client. Nurses are responsible for assessing their clients to effectively establish, execute, and evaluate the plan of care. However, when working with learners, client care is shared. Nurses working with any learner are expected to assign nursing activities based on the provider's competencies and in accordance with client needs, develop a care plan and evaluate its effectiveness, collaborate on the care plan and ensure there are clear expectations between the nurse and the learner. Understand and take into consideration the clinical experience objectives and competence level of the learner and contribute to their learning. Openly communicate with learners, clinical instructors, and other healthcare professionals as necessary to minimize the risk of errors and omissions. Uphold nursing standards by being available to learners and clinical instructors for assistance and consultation, and supervise learners as necessary and intervene if needed. Now let's briefly discuss how nurses should approach mistakes and performance concerns when mentoring learners. When a learner makes a mistake, it's important to consider the context. Nurses are not accountable for the decisions of others when those actions are unknown or unexpected. Learners remain accountable for their actions and client outcomes. As mentors, nurses must address errors constructively to ensure client safety. Performance concerns, particularly for new graduates or nurses transitioning to a new role, should be reported to the employer. In cases of incompetence, professional misconduct, or incapacity, there's also a duty to report to NAMB. Here's how performance concerns should be addressed. For unregulated care providers, report concerns to the employer. For students, discuss issues with the affiliated academic institution or clinical instructor. For other regulated healthcare professionals, report concerns to the employer and potentially to their regulatory body. In all situations, timely and constructive action supports a safe and professional environment. It's also important to understand who learners are accountable to. Registrants of NAMB, such as new graduate nurses, internationally educated nurses on the temporary register, and nurses transitioning to a new work environment, are accountable to their employers and to NAMB. Nursing students are accountable to their educational institutions and placement organization. Unregulated care providers are accountable to their employers. Other regulated healthcare professionals are accountable to their employers and to the regulatory body. Lastly, when considering the responsibilities of a clinical instructor, it's important to know that they are responsible for the overall learning plan of the student. The nursing student and clinical instructor should have the opportunity to discuss with the RN the learning plan, which will promote understanding and provide an opportunity for any clarification of responsibilities. The clinical instructor cannot be expected to be with all students at all times, so communication between the RN, the clinical instructor, and the nursing student is key in order to provide a meaningful and positive learning experience. It is important to note the crucial role employers and organizations play in fostering effective mentorship and preceptorship. Mentorship thrives in environments where organizations dedicate time, resources, and support to professional development. Collaborative work cultures that value mentorship are essential for empowering nurses and ensuring high-quality care. Employers are responsible for providing the organizational and human supports needed to maintain safe, competent, and ethical nursing care. However, individual nurses also play a role in advocating for such environments. According to the standards of practice for registered nurses, nurses are expected to advocate for and contribute to the development of policies and practices that enhance nursing practice and healthcare services, apply nursing leadership concepts in their practice, and advocate for and help create quality professional practice environments. Together, organizations and nurses can create a supportive culture that fosters mentorship, professional growth, and excellent care delivery. To review additional resources on mentoring and supporting learners, please check the resources here. These resources are also available within the fact sheet. Mentoring and Supporting Learners, which is available on the NAMB website. If you have any questions about this presentation, do not hesitate to reach out to a practice consultant at practiceconsultation@namb.nb.ca. Thank you.